Don't you just hate it when someone gives you a gift for like your birthday or Christmas or Valentine's or leap year or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, you shouldn't have. No, really, you should not have. Of course, it's the thought that counts. I'm not a monster. I know that. But it's weird when people give you gifts that you can't really use or express that they've like never met you, despite that like your best friends or it's your significant other or family. The same feelings can definitely happen when someone is grieving, or rather when you are grieving, and people try to help in ways that are not helpful. This is the video for those of you who are watching people grieve and you feel clueless as what to do and you're afraid you're gonna do the wrong thing. I'm gonna tell you what those wrong things are. And if you are grieving, I have a feeling you're gonna feel very seen by this video. Welcome to today's episode of Good Grief. I am Lauren-Blair Donovan, and I am a comedian amongst other things, and a lot of people have died on me. So I think the number one least helpful yet most common thing that people do or have done for me, and I've heard other people echo this, so I think it's pretty universal, is so many people, upon hearing the news that one of my parents died or someone else, like a friend or a relative died, they say to me, let me know if there's anything I can do. I was raised to be polite, so I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. If people could read my internal monologue, though, it'd be like, cool, great. Thanks so much for, putting the emotional labor on me. And yeah, it's cool, because it's like, my memory's not working great. I kind of have a lot of fish to fry, and there's just, bleh. I'm processing what it's like to have my mom be dead now, and my dad's already dead, and oh my God, everyone's dead, and ooh, I'm not sleeping, and I'm frankly not eating a lot, and I'm really sad, but sometimes I don't feel it. But sure, I'll remember that you said the vague thing that is, reach out if you need anything. See, this is the problem with this. Think about any time in life that you've been super stressed out. You probably don't remember vague pleasantries or offers. My rule of thumb is if someone keeps offering something to me, then I realize they actually want to help and I'm not a burden if I do choose to rely on them for help. If you just tell me once in the week after my parent died, let me know if you need anything, I don't think I'm gonna remember that. In fact, when my brother and I did a conjoined post to announce that our mother passed away 2.5 years ago, I got a lot of that, call me if you need anything, let me know if you need anything, I'm here for you, holler at me if you need anything, pigeon carrier me if you need anything, like whatever. I don't remember who any of those people were. I don't. I literally could not tell you one person that said that because it's just all a wash. And it doesn't sound very sincere. Commenting on Facebook is not the worst thing to do, but at the same token, it's the most minimal thing you can do. So if you actually want to help get off the book of faces and do something in real life, just a thought. However, I actually do remember probably most of the individuals that personally reached out with a phone call, with a text, especially my new LA friends, because I had only lived here for 7 months. So it was kind of this accidental litmus test. If a new LA friend that I've known for 7 months or under texted or called or privately messaged otherwise, I was like, wow, that shows some character, that shows compassion, that shows an olive branch of friendship. Those who liked the announcement that, my mom died, or commented, let me know if you need anything. I don't know you. I have no idea if you did that or not. Personal touches stand out, and more to the point, if you really do want to help, if you really want them to reach out if they need anything, you have to do it more than once, because at the end of the day, memory is a weird thing. We as humans tend to be very humble. We don't like to be a burden unless we're crazy. So we might get super self-conscious during one of the worst moments of our life. And if we are overwhelmed and we do need assistance, whether it's just a shoulder to cry on, or if you just want like a fun day out because you need a break from all the sadness, or if you need something specific, the grievers are only going to reach out to you if you keep reminding them that you actually care. When the roles are reversed and I'm watching someone grieve, I do my best to continue to reach out. If you reach out in the beginning, everybody kind of is like swarming the person. And so you're really not going to stand out if you do want to help, which is all the more reason not to just do it once. And then I try to follow up as the madness kind of dies down, because most people tend to like forget that you've been through this huge tragedy and go back to, living their lives. And the people that continue to remember and reach out start to stand out a little bit more. So I continue to try to check in with people who have lost someone in their family. And I try not to do it incessantly, because that can be kind of annoying too. People are going to have days where they're not going to want to respond. So don't take that personally. And people are also going to sometimes be fine and be like, I'm doing okay. Honestly, this doing better than I thought. That could change though, like a month from now. So check up again. When I did have those like crumbling moments where I felt like, oh my God, I am completely not okay, I reached out to the people that proved to me that they cared. I did not look at my Facebook comment thread of the announcement of when my brother and I said, hey, our mom died, and was like, oh yeah, that's right. This person from 10th grade English said to reach out if I need anything. Now's the moment. That didn't happen. Like, obviously, show you care, and don't take it personally if they don't want to take you up on your help. It's okay. Just make it known that you're there. Repeat it a few times, wash, rinse, repeat, that kind of thing, and just see where it goes. Don't even get me started on thoughts and prayers. That's actually the least you can do. So people actually did say that to me on my Facebook announcement. I'm a comedian, so I remember who those people were. Yeah, that's just hilarious that they told a comedian that. Like, I'm not going to mock that for all of time. Come on. Now, it's a common practice for people to congregate at the house of the family who has a deceased family member. And I'm all for that practice. I'm going to save aspects of that for another video, because that's kind of its own topic in of itself. But a lot of people, which is, good manners, tend to bring stuff to the house. For instance, they a good choice, and again, we're going to go over this in another video, but like sometimes people bring pre-made meals. So the grieving family doesn't have to cook when they're in the midst of all this life change and have so many other things to do, and they're utterly exhausted from probably not sleeping, and as well as just being really sad. But what's hilarious about when my dad died is that we somehow ended up with, I don't even know how many lasagnas, a ham, like a whole ham, a whole turkey. It was June. It wasn't close to Thanksgiving. And fun fact, no one in my family eats turkey, so I was like, oh no, you shouldn't have. And then a bunch of people also brought, pies and cakes. And some of this was really helpful because we actually had people over pretty much every day. People would just stop by to, say their condolences and keep us company. So a lot of this food didn't just go to us, it went to entertaining, which was helpful. But at one point, my mom had a friend that she knew was coming over, and he was smart enough to say, what do you need? And she said, ice, because people were coming over, and despite the fact that it's like a very nice thing that people are keeping us company, we also have to kind of be good hostesses, and we have to give people beverages, and we didn't have ice. So if you are going to go to a person's house and hang out with them, it might be a good idea to say, do you need anything? Whether it's grocery items, whether it's ice, whether it's like, I don't know, do you have a preference, another lasagna or turkey? Because maybe there's not room in the fridge or they don't eat turkey. I don't know. So I think bringing things, especially food items or beverage items, can be incredibly helpful, but definitely ask ahead of time. Don't just assume that they want a whole Thanksgiving meal and pat yourself on the shoulder for job well done. And thank you to whoever brought us the turkey. I don't actually know who did that. That was many years ago, but we did appreciate it, despite that I don't know what we did. I don't know what we did with it. Giving advice would be another thing that I think is a terrible idea to do when someone is newly grieving. If you have been through something similar, you definitely have legs to stand on. But even, and I am going to extrapolate on this in other videos, trust me. But grief is kind of like snowflakes, no two are alike. Even if you lost your dad and now you're watching someone lose their dad, they might have had a really different relationship with their dad. You might be at different ages. Those kind of things really factor into how someone might process, especially initially, the loss of someone. So I think it's good to not project anything that you've been through onto the next person, because the last thing you want to do is like put them in this weird like mental defense mode if they're not relating to what you're saying. And honestly, they might not be ready for advice yet. They have a lot going on and they might not be in a place to receive well-intending advice. So that's definitely worth considering. So I think advice is bad, even if you've been through something similar. But please, if you have not been through something similar, double, triple take this advice. I know there's some irony here, especially if you've lost like a grandfather and they lost their 16-year-old sister. Not the same thing. Like, don't do that. Like, cut it out. Like, don't do that. This is another topic that I'm gonna explore in another video, but I would also steer clear of any kind of religious or spiritual musings. That can be deeply personal, and I think even if you know the person super well and you know for a fact you guys have the same belief system or lack thereof, or just point of view about the universe, whatever it is that you guys subscribe to, that could be being tested in that moment. Death has a funny way of making people really question the meaning of life and if they're living life correctly, and if they want to talk about religion, let them lead that discussion. But even if you guys are like twinsies and you're both like, I believe in Zeus, I believe in Zeus too, don't talk about Zeus. Like, let them talk about Zeus, you know? Because who knows what they're privately feeling, and the last thing they need is to feel alienated or they're not living up to these identical expectations that were once set that could be being changed in the midst of processing that someone just died. This one's just a bonus, but it's always amused me, so I'm sharing it. I think the concept of giving flowers is super strange. I've never understood that. I am allergic to flowers, full disclosure, so it's kind of their magic and like beauty is lost on me because I sneeze a lot. But like, when you get flowers are dead. They're dead. You've like cut them. They're dead. They're dead. And they're not gonna look dead. They're gonna look real pretty when you give them to the grieving family or whomever. And they're gonna like water them, I guess, or give them flower food, which is really just another, chore that you're giving people who are already overburdened to do. Worth noting, same thing with potted plants, that then they got to keep it alive. That's a whole other thing. At least a dead flower is like a week commitment. But yeah, eventually the water and the flower food, it can't keep hiding the fact that the flower's dead. Thank goodness, even as a teenager, I had friends that supported my dark sense of humor, because you betcha I was sitting at my kitchen table with one of my friends and I was like, cool, flowers, they're gonna look dead in a week like my dad. Same person as a teenager that I am now. You're welcome, world, for not changing. But yeah, you're giving someone a dead gift. I just think that's funny. It's like, thanks for the dead flowers to remind me of my dead dad. I think most people probably appreciate flowers and I'm just being a weirdo, but do consider allergies and chore level, like for potted plants. They might not want to keep something alive when they might not even be like sleeping or eating well themselves. I'm just saying, responsibility when you're like overburdened and depressed, not a good time. And finally, don't be uncomfortable with emotions or even silence. If you're trying to be there for someone who's grieving and you're showing up for them in person, I think you're doing a great thing. That said, death is really tricky and it's complicated and it's awkward. I don't think that's said enough. So your friend or loved one or sibling or whoever is going through a major loss might be unusually quiet. And I think sometimes it's okay to sit in the quiet and not fill the space with words. Like if you're just chatting randomly to fill the silence. I think that's life advice, not just grief advice. But I think it's something we tend to get just really self-conscious and uncomfortable with. So I think it's always good to take stock. That said, maybe someone's also having trouble coming up with the words. So I'm never not a fan of calling a spade a spade. You can always be like, You just want to zone out for a while? Or you can say, is there something that you want or need? Or do you just want me to sit here with you while we kind of like space out for a while? Sometimes it's just nice to know that someone's there and you don't have to have a dialogue with. There's like a weird safety feeling just knowing someone's in the room, and sometimes people can ruin that if they talk too much. And sometimes people can ruin that if they feel a need to talk about things that are probably not on the grieving person's mind, and they might find that exhausting. So, food for thought. Also, look, grief can be really emotional. Shock, I know. Sometimes there's a lot of tears. And I don't mean that to be funny. It's just, I think some of the biggest tears, like of your life, the biggest meltdowns, can be when someone passed away. And it's hysterical. And some of that might be Captain Obvious information, but I don't actually think it is for a lot of people. I think a lot of people underestimate how terrible it really feels to lose someone you love. Also, there's a lot of anger that can happen after someone died. Maybe they had unresolved anger towards someone. Maybe someone didn't take care of themselves well enough to stay alive. Maybe there's all these like weird secrets about finances or mistresses or who knows what coming out in the wake of someone's passing, and someone could get incredibly angry, or you could catch them rather at a moment where they're incredibly angry. Grief has a lot of emotions and they're all valid. If you're not grieving, you don't have the option to be uncomfortable because someone else is literally falling apart. You just have to be a rock and you have to just be there for them. You can't be offended if they're crying or angry. It's just something that if you've chosen to walk this walk with people, you need to let them have their emotions. Because in my opinion, I think grief is going to be awful no matter which way you dice it. But I think you get off the ride a lot faster and kind of more intact if you don't deny yourself how you feel, if you address how you feel head on and you don't find ways to numb it nonstop. The only way out of it is through it. So as a friend, please don't deny anyone their emotions. Please don't try to talk them out of it. And please also don't make it about you. I think there's sometimes a weird phenomenon that happens where people start crying because other people are crying, or people, I don't know. There was once a situation when a bunch of people were over the house after my dad died, and someone poked their head in a room that I was hanging out in with a bunch of girls my own age. And the woman asked me, "How are you doing?" But one of my friends thought she was talking to her for some reason and was like, "I'm okay. It's really sad, but I'm okay." Look, people will be people. No one's perfect, and grief makes people act really funny. So no judgment. Thank you for the laugh, actually, to my friend, who I will not name or ever say that was her who did that. But yeah, maybe always put the grieving person first, or do a, room check to make sure that like grieving person, like wants to answer how they're doing first. Maybe let that happen, but that's cool. That's just me. Call me Emily Post if you must. But yeah, don't talk anyone out of their feelings. Don't make anyone feel uncomfortable because you're uncomfortable with feelings, and don't make it about you. I think those are incredibly great rules to live by, frankly, in life, but definitely if you're trying to help someone out who's grieving. And also, don't offer stuff that you can't make good on. This is not the time to break promises. I think all of us at some point in our life have bitten off more than we can chew, and we try to say we can be somewhere or be there for someone or what have you, but then the cards fall a certain way and we can't deliver. I know that we can't be psychic and we can't know if traffic's gonna happen, or if like your work is suddenly gonna get super busy, or you're just gonna find yourself slammed with other commitments, but now is the time to be super honest with what you can and can't do. No, I've never been mad at anyone because they didn't do enough for me, you know what I mean? But I feel like I've been way more mad at people who made me promises they couldn't keep or broke their word in some kind of way, gave me false hope only to like cancel, whatever. I get way more mad at that stuff than I do if someone just doesn't offer a specific thing, whether I need it or not. I don't know. I think just don't be a hero if you can't be a hero. If you don't have your cape, don't be a hero. Like, it's fine. Honestly, this might be a 2-part video at some point because I think that there's just so many things that you can do wrong while watching someone grieve or attempting to help someone through the process of grieving. It's honestly hard to narrow it down, but I think this is a pretty good start to just have a list of things to think about the practicalities of everything from the emotions to offering help, to when to offer help, to how to not make it about you, and to maybe double check with what they need versus being like, you know what? I'm gonna bring you all this like sushi as well as like red wine when maybe someone doesn't eat fish, let alone raw fish, and maybe someone doesn't drink. Gestures are always nice, as are kind words, but just make sure that they're warranted and that they're wanted. And I think we as a culture, with everything, not just with grief rules, would do so much better if we just were honest and checked in with someone and asked their opinion, and we could be honest while answering what someone's opinion about what they should or shouldn't do, or if they're ready to talk or not ready to talk or whatnot. When I run for president, that will be my platform. That about wraps it up for today. I hope that this video was helpful or at least validating if you're going through losing someone for the first time or multiple times. I guess actually it never really gets easier. So I hope this video was helpful all around. Please share it if you feel like someone would benefit from it. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, ask questions. I feel very needy right now. Please do this, please do that. But this is a newer channel. This is a newer series for this channel, and I really would appreciate any love. And I also would love it if you commented with the things that you thought was not helpful if you've been through this kind of thing, because like I said, I think this could be a 2-part video pretty easily, but I definitely might need to even get my memory jogged a little and be like, oh yeah, that's right, people do that, that's so weird. I don't make the rules. This video, I think more than a lot of videos, is like close to gospel. A lot of my videos are just me normalizing this conversation about death and loss, but I don't know, this one's a little hard to contest in my opinion, because I've talked to other people that like pretty universally feel the same way. But if you have other experiences, I do really want to hear about that. If you have questions about how to handle a grieving person, I am here for that, and I would love to hopefully answer your question in the future. As I said, this will likely be a 2-part video, but I also have a video coming up that's going to be about the actual helpful things that you can do to help a grieving person. So don't worry, I'm not just like negative Nancy over here saying, don't do this and this is bad and I'm gonna laugh at you if you do this. I can sometimes be a great girl and talk about the positive things that you can do. I'm Lauren-Blair Donovan. All my social media is Blairosaurus Rex. I will be posting on Twitter and Instagram on those accounts when I am uploading new videos. So if that's easier for you to keep track of, I would love that. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.